Hi, today on Catherine Learns Stuff, I'm going to walk you through making this Minecraft birthday banner. So let's jump in. To make this Minecraft birthday banner, all I need is some paper, basically. I'm just using craft paper from my kids' pile of craft paper, just because it's not very expensive and I have a whole lot of it in the two different shades of green, brown, and black, which I think will be perfect for making the banner. So what I need to do first is for my banner background, I actually need to have a bunch of banner pins. So I'm going to take just the standard size that I have here, which is about 8.5 by 11, and cut them in half. So this will be 2 pins for each, so for 2 letters. And I'm actually going to make them in 2 different shades of green so that I've got a little bit of contrast in the banner. So for happy birthday, I need 13 letters. So I'm just going to need 13 squares. So I'm going to do 6 of one and 7 of another, and we'll go from there. So just using my simple paper cutter, I'm going to cut these in half and get that moving. So these sheets are 9 by 12. So I'm quickly just going to mark the 6-inch line here in the middle so that I know roughly where that is, because my paper cutter doesn't reach 6 inches out, it only goes 4. And this way I know how to line it up on my blade. So now I've got the pins for the back of my banner. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a bunch of squares out of just the light green, the dark green, and the brown, and that's going to be what I use to make a design sort of on the pins. And now since my pins are 9 inches in height, I'm going to try to make these about 3 inches each so I can cut a few pages and have some space, some squares for each one. I'm thinking I'm going to put 3 squares of the 3 colors onto each of these pins. So I'm going to need roughly 40 or so squares, and they're going to be random colors, so I'm just going to do a bunch of each and then adjust them as we go. So now I've got a bunch of 4 by 4.5 squares. So the last thing that I need to do is I need to make a bunch of black squares for the letters that I'm going to be creating. I'm actually going to make each letter out of squares so that it looks like pixels, and each square is going to be about 1.25 inches. That way it'll fit on my pins nicely. If I do it at 1.5 inches, I'll have a little bit of a smaller margin around the edges, and that's not what I'm looking for. So I'm going to be doing 1.25 inch squares. So again, I'm going to use my paper cutter for this, and I've calculated that I'd need about 114. So I'm just going to cut a whole bunch, and then hopefully that'll be enough, and I'll adjust more if I need to as it goes. So now that all my pieces are cut, the next thing that I have to do is put some pixels onto my pins. So I've got the dark green and the light green, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 or 3 of these colored squares onto each one. So for example, I might do like this here, and then similar on the other side. And then just to give them sort of a little bit more color and pixelation to make them look better. So now what I do with this is I simply just use an old egg carton, paintbrush, and some crafting glue. And I'm just going to paint the edges of these squares and glue them on. And I'm just going to try to do sort of different color combinations for all of them and get those done that way. Now I'm going to let all those dry, and then we'll continue with the letters. Now that all my pins are dry, what I'm going to do is I'm going to organize them light, dark, so that I can get the letters put onto them. For this part, I've changed the nozzle on my glue, and I'm going to use this fine point so that I can put the letters on it. And so each letter is going to take up a pixel portion of my pin, and I'm just going to glue each square on and move along like that. That tip wasn't working, so I've changed it to a different one. That'll let the glue hopefully come out a little bit better. Now that all of my letters are done, I'm going to quickly put these under a book to dry so that they lay flat and that everything sticks. Now that all of my letters are dry, the last thing I have to do is put 2 holes in the top so that I can string this all together. So I just use my hole puncher and punch 2 holes in each piece, just like so. Now that each letter has holes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to string the happy and the birthday together as 2 separate words, and I'm going to leave the first and the last holes open for now, as those will be my long strings for attaching it to my wall. I'm going to have to measure those at the end once the words are together. And the way that I'm doing this is I'm going to have happy on top and birthday underneath. And also if you have put in a name, you can put that underneath the birthday, or you could string it out as one long strand of letters. Just some ribbon from my local dollar store, and we're gonna do this. The strand that holds the 2 letters together, or any of the letters together, doesn't need to be very long. You just want to be able to tie it up so that the letters are about that far apart, and that way you've got a good bit of space between them. And I'm just using a green-ish color that sort of works with Minecraft. I'm just going to cut a bunch of these strands so I've got them ready to go beforehand. So now I'm just tying these together. So all of my letters are now attached together, and I've had to move on to the floor because I need a little bit more space to do the final string tying. So I've got the happy birthday set up the way that I kind of want it to hang. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to attach a ribbon off from the Y and have it come off the side. And this Y here is going to attach to the ribbon that's going to be off this way. The one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little loop in the ribbon around this location, so I've got somewhere to tie this into so it doesn't slide over. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So let's get that last little bit done. And I'm going to give myself a bunch of surplus ribbon here so that I've got room to tie it up in my living room. So this ribbon's kind of going to be around this spot, so I'm just going to make a knot here. So I've got somewhere to tie this ribbon into so that it can hang on. If I don't have a loop here, this ribbon that I'm attaching will slide up and down the other one and it will bunch up the letters. Okay, and I get to repeat the whole process on the other side. Now all that's left to do is to hang it up on my wall. And that's it. Our Minecraft birthday banner is complete. I have left a link to all the products that I've used in the description below. Be sure to check out my website for additional tips and tricks on this project as well as other crafty projects. I also have a few other Minecraft projects that you can watch in the links below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.